Global Banking and Finance Review is proud to offer another award to Arab Africa International Bank for Best Investment Bank, Egypt 2015. Recently in the City of London to receive the award, Mr. Hassan Abdallah, Chief Executive Officer and Vice Chairman of the Arab Africa International Bank. Mr. Hassan Abdallah, welcome indeed to London. Lovely to see you here, and congratulations on the award as well.
Well, thank you very much. I'm really glad to be here to receive this prestigious award.
Well, it's lovely to see you, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the bank, if I may, and some of the services that you provide. Let's first of all look at Egypt in general terms. What will you see are the biggest opportunities and challenges for the Egyptian banking system at the moment?
Well, as we speak now, of course, there are challenges, in my opinion, everywhere. I mean, the whole world is changing, and the challenges are even new. We call it uncharted territories, where you go into places where it's the first time you go. Egypt, we've had a very good economic run, and we've been able to, on the macro level, achieve very commendable numbers, mainly relating to the major issues facing all economies worldwide, which is employment. Of course, as in other places, there is the budget deficit and controlling inflation. And we've managed to get all this. Unfortunately, since 2011, some new challenges have arisen that led to a decrease in some of the revenues, specifically those related to tourism, which, as you may know, in Egypt, tourism is, in my opinion, the main competitive edge. I mean, I don't know if you've been to Egypt, but please, you will find that it is one of the most beautiful, friendly people, and of course, it has both the 1/3 of the whole world of ancient stuff, and it has the best shores and diving sites. Anyway, but this has been going down in terms of revenue, which has caused some pain in the foreign currency receipts, which we're handling with. As for the banking sector, lucky enough, we were caught at a time where the banking sector has already been consolidated and in line with all the corporate governance, compliance, Basel requirements of the international banking sector. So this has led the banking sector to be able to weather these storms, and despite all macroeconomic conditions that I'm sure that we are being addressed and provide opportunities as well, the banking sector has been able to stand very strong and provide higher return on equities than in most of the places in the world.
So obviously these are the challenges for the banking sector in Egypt, but you have been established since 1964. What would you say have been the changes and opportunities that have developed over that period of time to the present day?
Well, a lot, of course. I cannot summarize them in 5 minutes. However, at a certain stage, Arab African, which is like in the 70s and the 80s, Arab African International Bank has been having a presence internationally, in London market, in New York, and in the region in Bahrain and Tunis. It was quite a huge operation at the time, even compared to banks worldwide. However, as you might appreciate, creating a global bank, even the model of global banks now is finding difficulties creating big banks. So we were realizing some difficulties in creating value from and competing in mature markets like London and New York. It's not easy at all. And I've seen that even with other institutions and other banks. So we have decided to focus again on our strength in the home market, where we have grown exponentially. In fact, we can claim with no hesitation that we've been the fastest growing bank for the last 10-12 years. And from this we created also a base to serve the region, and thank God we are one of the preferred local banks to do business with international investors and international banks both in Egypt and the region, and that's more a model of cooperation rather than competing in their home markets.
And indeed, just expanding on that, yeah, I know that you have a significant presence with branches in Egypt, obviously, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Beirut. And indeed, you have a local branch expansion within your own country. Tell us a bit about that and the significant investment that you've had to make to create that.
It's part of our mission to be the gateway for investments into the region. And as you might appreciate, and I'm sure a lot of people in the business would understand, there are a lot of barriers to entry in the region for traditional banking. And having a base is very important. And we've decided that this base would be where we have both in Cairo, but also in the Emirates, where from the Emirates we are able to serve our clients not only there but in Saudi, in Bahrain, in Kuwait. So this would be we've been beefing this up, and it's been showing great results, and we'll keep doing that. So there are two main aspects there. First focus is the business between Emirates and Egypt and vice versa, where we have quite a big share there. And then the second is from the Emirates directly to the region around, which we are at the moment expanding.
Now, you as an organisation have moved from a basic bank to a fully integrated financial operation now, and you offer asset management, brokerage, leasing and mortgage services, to name but a few, reading from the list here. How do you think that benefits your clients?
Well, we truly believe that regardless of, the client has got nothing to do with the regulation, the client wants the service. So we want to provide the service and want to be more of a preferred choice for him in whichever area he goes. The segregation between these activities worldwide is mainly due to regulation, but the service is all financial services. So we tend to be to provide an integrated and a comprehensive menu of services that includes what you have mentioned, and we tend to focus on the synergies between these so that we can better serve our client and better serve each other.
Now, this award from Global Banking and Finance, third consecutive year that you won this. How did you get to that extremely excellent position?
Well, first, thank you and my appreciation to having this reward. And of course, there is the standard answer, which is true. If you ask anybody, it's because of the staff and dedication of the staff. Mm-hmm. However, I would like to take it a little bit further. We have been able in Arab African International Bank to focus on the mindset of the staff so that they do understand that the competencies need, because the segregation, if I may just retrace a bit, the segregation worldwide between traditional banking and investment banking, again, has been, since Glass-Steagall, has been mainly because of regulation. However, the competencies needed, in my opinion, are more or less the same. It just needs an extra dedication and some more complementary knowledge. What we have done in Arab African is that we've based the mindset on trying to get solutions rather than problems, and trying to think as fast and as professional as an investment bank. I always communicate with my staff, and that's no offense to traditional banking, but the half full, half empty glass. The traditional banker gets it more difficult to look at the half full. The investment bankers doesn't see except the opportunity, the half full, and tries to mitigate the risks. That's the culture that we have. It's all about building a culture. It's all about building a culture that believes that our clients have to be served, and risk is our job. However, we have to mitigate this risk to the best of our ability and to serve the client to the maximum. And we have been successful in finding innovative solutions to mitigate risks and we've been having one of the best quality of assets, in my opinion, in the region.
Well, moving on from that, let's perhaps now take a look at some of the innovative products and services that you've been able to introduce to give your clients the best possible investment advantages and opportunities. Tell us about that.
Fine. If I may break the question into two, which is mainly being the first to do stuff and being the only bank to do stuff in Egypt. So we've been, as I told you, communicating with the staff. What I always share with my staff, we have annual communication day where we meet and we talk. What I've always been communicating reflects on what I previously said about the competencies needed and warranted for people to do a good service for clients. And I always mark and explain that finance is no rocket science. And I believe that anybody can copy a product maybe after 6 months, just about the lead time. However, the ingredients are the same. So we need to always come up with ideas and try to go and provide what we can for our clients. So as we're talking about which is not innovative, but first, it's very important for us that we have been able to change, for instance, something very simple, but it added a lot of value to all Egyptians, which is extending the working hours of the banking sector from 9 to 1:30 to be 9 to 5. And that was part of where we have been able to attract a lot of clients in the beginning, and then all the banks think, and I appreciate this because we're more interested into the whole banking sector, have followed suit. So now you can bank in Egypt like anywhere in the world. So that's not innovative, but it's just first. Mm-hmm. We were also the first bank to go ahead and do a corporate bond deal, one of the first securitizations we've done in Egypt on corporate bonds. And of course, relating to our subsidiaries, they've been able also to perform quite a good job. As what's closer to my heart is the innovation part, which mainly related in innovating products that might be there abroad but have never been done in Egypt. And I don't believe that they have been performed by other bank other than Arab African International Bank, which relate to being able to mitigate risks that clients have relating to markets. For instance, we've been able to write options in currency, the local currency. We've been able to do interest rate swaps and combine it with mortgage products to provide a longer and healthier profile for both the investor or the mortgage holder and the bank and the developer company who needs this product as well.
From what you're saying there, I get the impression that it's very important to be first if you possibly can, especially within your own market. Is that true?
Anywhere in the world, first is best. Mm-hmm. It's like even when we read about marketing, first is the strongest word that lingers in the even better than best. Mm-hmm. So that's what we've been told. I mean, you're the expert.
No, I take your point absolutely. And indeed, I was reading in the Bloomberg Global Syndicated Loaned publication about the fact that you have a remarkable turnover in volumes of syndication. What does that mean for the bank itself, would you say?
Well, this positions the bank where it really is, both in terms of corporate credit and investment banking, where we come as for several consecutive years as one of the leading banks in the region to provide syndications in terms of size. Of course, that's what they call, but not only in terms of size, but also in terms of creativity and adding the options that would make it both sellable and require the client's profile, fits the client's profile.
And in keeping with what we've just been discussing, you have introduced many new services over the years. How do you ensure that your clients, your customers, are receiving the best possible service?
Well, as I mentioned, it is in the mindset of most staff in Arab African, and this needs a lot of work because, as you might appreciate, as I totally believe, and I believe everybody would know that, it's all about human resources. So as long as you have your human resources properly taken care of, and that's not only pay, this is much more than that, and then they will be able to provide these clients. And we're in direct touch and at various levels of the institutions with all our clients. We share information properly, and we do have a lot of feedback from our clients. And myself, I go and we try to have a gathering with our clients at least once a year at my level, and we can talk and see what are the issues that we can improve, because always we like to improve. We always have to improve.
And it's good to talk. Yes.
It's good to communicate. You
Absolutely.
The simple basic things are the major things that make an institution succeed. Communicating within yourself and communicating with your stakeholders.
Absolutely. Now, you've won numerous awards thanks to the success story. I'm reading, for instance, that Middle East, you've won the best CSR according to Euromoney. You were recognised by the UN Global Compact for the 5th consecutive year, and I am reading this, named Best Practices for 2015. So that's just 2 successes to name, but many. Why do you think that is, that you have had so many of these awards?
Well, I'll also try to break this question into the awards which we do appreciate and respect, like the investment banks which we're talking about. We've also had Best Bank for several years. We've had a lot of these awards. This all brings happiness to our staff and to myself, and we are all focused on numbers and bottom line and want to increase the return on equity. It really makes us happy. But what really makes us proud, and what really makes us, and this comes up to first again, makes us really different, is that we are not only happy, we are happy and proud when we go into the CSR. It's part of the culture. I mean, we were the first in Egypt for sure, and I believe in the Middle East, to create an NGO separate to cater for specific areas in CSR. And this brings not only, as I said, the happiness, it brings the pride. So this is the pride of Arab African employees. When we started this, it was part of your working harder is giving back to the community automatically through Arab African International Bank. So instead of saying, oh, I'm working an hour, 1 hour more, you say, I'm donating 1 hour more too, so that we achieve. So these awards, in my opinion, they come all within CSR, which we are, as I mentioned, very proud of, and we've had several awards there, and we have been able to marry the process of CSR with banking in terms of mindset as well. Just to give you an idea of one of the projects that we were looking at, as you might know, that there is a lot of infrastructure, especially in public sector hospitals, which not only need renovation, but they are working a very small number of hours. So just by being able to provide a mechanism and a protocol with them to extend their hours by getting more usables, by having the compensation for the nurses and doctor, you can leverage, I'm using banking terms, because that's what we do, leverage the already current infrastructure so that you use it and you create a big impact. And we've been able to create a huge impact, getting waiting lists down to zero in some areas, and in others we're still working on it. And we are taking, this is relating to we're focused, our focus there is health and education, and we are taking it a step further, again, to be a market leader, like after we've done this huge CSR initiative, and we owe it to Egypt, which is the foundation. A lot of banks followed suit. We're now championing a project called Mustadam, which is sustainable but in Arabic, and we are taking this with all our colleague banks and creating, and of course with international partnerships, in order to create a mindset for sustainability and providing and catering for all your shareholders, your employees, your society, all the shareholders and stakeholders that you have, so that we can have sustainable growth. And we believe that this is something that needs to be focused on, not only in Egypt, not only in the region, but worldwide. I have my colleagues who are taking this. They've been pushing me to even try to have built into the accounting standards of banks part of the CSR. Of course, this is a far-fetched, but I believe that one day it should be, to reflect that an institution strength is not only based on numbers, but also based on the sustainability of these numbers and the sustainability of the society around it. And without the sustainability of the society, you cannot have your own sustainability as an institution.
It is obviously a pretty exciting thing. I know that you mentioned there we owe it to Egypt and the plans for that, but obviously you mentioned many projects there. What do you feel the attitude is to the general business community in Egypt? Are they aware of these achievements?
We are not high profile. However, we have an impact, and we tend to focus on the deliverables. I don't know, but you need, because in Egypt there is a lot of high-profile institutions who have, for instance, commercials on TV and stuff. We don't like this. We like to have more of a one-to-one and having our corporates. In fact, our corporates are part of this. And since we started this, for instance, we owe it to Egypt Foundation, we've been in direct communication not only with our clients, but also with other banks. Because our ambition, this is not, for us, this is not about competition. It's not about, that's why we call it, we owe it to Egypt. This is not about Arab African. This is about having a proper channel that is sustainable, and make sure that your money goes directly to a sustainable project, and Arab African just happens to pay all the administrative costs.
Yes.
So your money goes 100% to there, and you get a report. And I'm very proud of it. I mean, I don't want to keep talking about it.
And deservedly so as well.
Thank you very much.
One final question. You're here in London at the moment, very much in the news this week at the time of recording, is of course the decision by the British people to leave the European Union, the so-called Brexit as it's become known. How do you think that will impact the situation with the Egyptian economy and banking sector?
Well, I've had a couple of meetings with some distinguished bankers here, and everybody is on the drawing board. Nobody really knows the long-term impact. However, as it looks from the face of it, short-term, it looks like it's going to have big repercussions. This is evidenced by the stock prices of the by English banks, which have shed 25-30%. And then it remains to see what kind of deal that happens between them. And this is, of course, since the British people chose that, then hopefully it's going to be for their better, and hopefully it will realize maybe after this dip, the J curve effect, it starts going up again. As for Egypt, the major, UK has one of the biggest FDI in Egypt. And I don't believe this will be affected, but mainly there is a lot of oil business, there's a lot of affected, and there's a lot of profitable business in Egypt. I don't think this will affect any of that. And the exports from Egypt to Britain are negligible, so they can only go up. As for tourism, tourism also is at a low point in Egypt for other reasons, so I don't think this will affect Egypt at all. So I think that the relationship between the two countries, if anything, has much more upside than downside, and I wish that Brexit turns out to be good for everybody at the end.
It's, as you say, very much an unknown quantity at the moment, even at this early stage.
It's very hard the models are not there to even predict. People have to, the variables are so many that you have to work on it for some time to come up with something sensible. But the initial reaction has been obvious through the markets.
Well, certainly you've had an incredible year. Hopefully it will continue that way. Thank you so much for coming to London and talking to us today. And congratulations on the award once again, Mr. Hassan Abdallah.
Our
Thank
pleasure.
you so much for talking.
It was a pleasure, Phil. Thank you very much, and hope to see you later.